as a boxer?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And listen, what Jake Paul has accomplished is he's fighting old guys.
Yes.
He's fighting, all he fights are old guys and whatever. But listen, say what you want, he wins. And he makes money. So he's doing his thing, you know.
Champions of the past, we have world champions of the present. Marissa Shields in the building.
Joe Rogan just exposed Jake Paul, a man who built his empire on cringeworthy pranks and somehow stumbled into boxing. From day one, Jake has been desperately seeking attention, constantly calling out anyone who might give him a fight. He even went after Conor McGregor, as if McGregor owed him money, then turned his sights on Sean Strickland. When those challenges didn't go as planned, Jake mastered the art of cherry-picking opponents to fit his narrative. Let me know if you want to tweak it further. Now, Jake has a new set of complaints because why face real challenges when—
Jake Paul, it's clear to me you are desperate for a reality check. You know what? If I made my money impressing 4-year-olds on YouTube and managed to somehow become a multimillionaire from it, I'd probably live in a dream world too. But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out of you. This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of—
whining is easier. This time, it's about his fight with Mike, which wasn't the cakewalk he expected. And let's not overlook his over-the-top reaction to Andrew Tate's fight offer, which he handled with all the maturity of a teenager being told to clean their room. Joe Rogan left everyone wondering if the self-proclaimed boxing prodigy cares more about boxing or avoiding.
I made a little bit of money. I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3. Winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the
Real
ring.
Competition. The latest controversy stems from Jake's refusal to fight Andrew Tate, despite Tate's public challenge and a $3 million bet on the table. A move that sparked a social media frenzy. Jake Paul, infamous for his larger-than-life persona and relentless self-promotion, has built a career by cherry-picking opponents.
They buy it.
But let's say he would call you to fight. Would you take it?
Yeah, I mean, Jake and I actually talk. He's an all right guy. There was a time we were talking about fighting each other, and I think if this arrest didn't happen, it probably would have come to fruition. We'll see.
From retired MMA fighters with zero boxing experience to celebrities with no business in the ring. His matchups follow a predictable formula, ensuring pay-per-view sales and maximizing his chances of victory. So when Andrew Tate, a former kickboxing world champion and one of the internet's most polarizing figures, challenged him to a fight, Jake's lack of a clear response spoke louder than words. Tate's challenge wasn't subtle. He didn't just call Jake Paul out. He taunted him with a hefty monetary bet and an open-ended offer to fight anytime, anywhere.
You want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled dickhead like you.
Bold and calculated, the move was classic Tate, unapologetically brash and impossible to ignore. Yet, instead of stepping up, Jake dodged the opportunity, opting to sidestep the ring entirely. Joe Rogan, never one to sugarcoat things, called out the obvious. Jake only takes fights where he can control the odds, and a bout with Andrew Tate doesn't come with a script. Jake's pivot away from Tate came in the form of a proposed fight, with none other than Mike Tyson. At first glance, it seemed like a boxing fan's dream matchup, but on closer inspection, it was a calculated move designed to minimize risk. Tyson, though a boxing legend, is 57 years old and well past his prime. While his name alone guarantees ticket sales, the fight lacks the unpredictability and genuine challenge that facing Andrew Tate would bring. Rogan didn't hold back in dissecting Jake's strategy, calling it a masterclass in avoiding credible threats. What makes this even more damning is how Jake has handled his critics. Instead of confronting the accusations head-on, he stayed conspicuously silent. Rogan, on the other hand, didn't hold back, pointing out—
Do that though. He knows. He knows way.
One, he's under contract, and two,
he's not his own boss.
And two, he won't do it. He knows better. He might.
And it's funny to say, like, yo, Conor McGregor is scared
Jake's
of
tendency to dodge young, competitive fighters in favor of safer, more marketable matchups. Opting to fight Tyson, a retired heavyweight, over Tate a fighter in peak condition, perfectly sums up Jake's so-called boxing career. Tate, for his part, didn't let Jake's rejection slide. He doubled down on his challenge, calling out Jake's fear and exposing the cracks in his tough guy persona. For someone who thrives on bravado and dominance, Jake's reluctance.
He mentioned me before, and there'll be people out there saying, oh, Carl Froch's talking about himself, he's after a payday. Listen, I'm not after a payday. I'm doing all right.
To face Tate reveals a vulnerability even his most loyal fans can't ignore. Social media's backlash was swift and brutal, with both fans and critics branding Jake a coward for ducking what could have been a career-defining fight. Rogan didn't stop at Jake's avoidance tactics. He took aim at the broader pattern of Jake's career, calling it a string of mismatched fights designed to pad his record rather than challenge his abilities. From retired athletes to inexperienced fighters, Jake's opponents have all shared one thing in common: they posed no real threat. Rogan's blunt critique cut through the noise, exposing Jake's strategy as a calculated ploy to protect his marketability while avoiding any genuine risk to his reputation. The fallout from this saga has left Jake Paul's reputation in ruins. His refusal to fight Andrew Tate, coupled with his decision to face a retired Mike Tyson, has solidified the belief that he's more interested in playing the role of a fighter than actually being one. Rogan's sharp insights have only amplified this perception, leaving both fans and critics questioning if Jake will ever prove himself in a fight that isn't carefully scripted from the start. For now, it seems the only thing Jake is fighting for is the illusion of legitimacy. Jake's decision to dodge Andrew Tate's challenge didn't just dent his reputation, it demolished it. For years, he marketed himself as a fearless warrior in the ring, but this fiasco stripped away the facade.
That's delusion. I'm sorry. Look, Andrew, fighter, legitimate, badass motherfucker, strong mentality. Sorry, Tristan Tate is the weak link.
I say let's run
He got a bad shoulder. He's shaped like a gingerbread man. I don't want no beef, but that's delusion.
PFO will set this up.
A MMA double tag team match.
10 million for everybody.
You might have a
Revealing a businessman who prioritizes paychecks over proving his worth. Fans are no longer buying into the hype. The image of Jake as a daring competitor has vanished, replaced by someone who picks fights like items off a fast food menu. Only the safest, most marketable options make the cut. It's not that Jake Paul can't fight, he clearly can. The problem is, he won't fight anyone who poses a real threat. Andrew Tate threw down the gauntlet, complete with a $3 million bet and a no excuses call-out, but instead of stepping up, Jake stepped away. This left everyone wondering if his boxing career is more of a PR stunt than a legitimate athletic pursuit. Joe Rogan didn't mince words, pointing out the obvious. Jake doesn't want a challenge, he wants a sure thing. Then came Jake's next move, teasing a fight with 57-year-old Mike Tyson. Sure, Tyson is a boxing legend, but let's be real. He's well past his prime. Jake knows this. Tyson's name guarantees headlines, but the fight itself is low risk, high reward. A win over a retired heavyweight adds to Jake's highlight reel without exposing his weaknesses. Rogan didn't hold back, calling Jake out for dodging young, dangerous opponents like Andrew Tate while clinging to safe bets. Meanwhile, Andrew Tate has been relentless, seizing every opportunity to call Jake out. He's labeled Jake a coward and mocked his refusal to fight. And honestly, Tate's not wrong. For someone who thrives on controversy and confidence, Jake's silence speaks volumes. Instead of addressing Tate's challenge, he's busy pretending the offer doesn't exist. Social media isn't letting this slide either, with fans tearing into Jake for hiding behind his brand and avoiding any fight that could tarnish his carefully curated record. The real question now is, where does Jake Paul go from here? He can't keep dodging fighters like Tate without completely tanking his credibility. Joe Rogan made it clear, Jake's reputation is hanging by a thread. If he continues down this path, dodging real competition and staging glorified exhibitions, his brand will crumble.
One cage. Jake Logan, you Tristan. Who comes out alive?
You know what? I'm trying so hard to not start internet beefs. I'm really trying not to.
You could say Jake and Logan, man.
Bro,
don't worry about it.
No, I can't lie. Bro, I'm going through life. I'm trying to live peaceful now.